Let's jump to this next story. We got a story from Variety. Luke Rudkowski's dad, Bill Maher, says woke baggage is Democrats' biggest problem. Stop talking about pregnant men. Man, what a turnaround. First, the important thing, he's not really Luke's dad.
Yeah, and Vladimir Putin is not Luke's uncle.
That's right. None of this
and
is
Assange.
happening.
If all three of them had a DNA baby somehow, I would pop out probably.
Pop out. No. But a few years ago, Dennis Prager goes on Bill Maher's show and he's like, they're claiming that men can have periods. And then Bill Maher's like, no, they're not. And he's like, yes, they are. And they're putting tampons in the men's room. And Bill Maher is like, oh, it's for their girlfriends. You're crazy. Now Bill Maher is coming out and saying, like, stop talking about pregnant men. So maybe, I guess I can bring this up because I think what happens with Bill Maher is that he's kind of seeing the writing on the wall. He's like, uh-oh, this weird woke cult stuff is not popular. And if we keep embracing it, we're going down. So he saw the writing on the wall. He's changing his tune and pushing back and saying no to this. I think this is a white pill moment. Like, we can talk about the weirdo cult. We can talk about industry control. But let's just say this. You got prominent HBO mainstream liberal personality pushing back on wokeness. You've got independent artists gaining traction, expanding, and pushing back on the machine, literally actually raging against the machine, and succeeding. So I look at this like the weirdo uniparty cult ain't working out. It's fizzling.
Right, and I think a lot of it is because it lacks common sense, right? And it almost feels like a test of how far, what can we program these people to believe, right? Like if you're starting to lose common sense, like it's obvious that men can't get pregnant, obvious. It's like, right? Come on, but it's almost like, let's run this test to see who we can convince this and what part of people are convincible to do anything, right? Like you have people that are jumping onto this, right? Those are the people that are unreasonable. Those are the people that no matter what facts you show that are currently going on, they will deny the facts. You could show them, you know, data from a year later. They'll deny the data. You could show them, oh, you know, men can't get pregnant. Oh, I don't believe that.
You don't need to show them that. I mean, it's ridiculous.
But it's crazy. That's what I'm saying. It's like how far can we program certain people? It's almost like a test. It's almost like they're running tests to see how convincible.
That's why I'm saying,
are.
You know, simulation theory, baby. We are in a computer simulation, and there's someone sitting there going like, okay, let's enter the parameters, and let's now introduce telling all of the Americans that men can get pregnant.
I think they're hacking.
17% actually agreed with that.
They're hacking. They're hacking the way people think. Because like Darwin, for instance, would say it's not the strongest of the species that survives, but the one that's most adaptable to change. And if people change to believe psychosis, that's part of like we're able to do that if we need to survive for the moment. Let's just pretend that eating the frozen dead bodies. We've crash landed in the Arctic. Let's pretend like it's normal.
What?
Everyone get like you see that movie Alive where
yes.
that group went down. They had to eat each other to survive. You know, you just put yourself in a moment of psychosis where like this is normal. We're gonna get through it. And then, for better or worse, you know, we've basically accepted something that you might normally think is psychotic. So I think people have hijacked that with social media, and they're feeding it, and they're like transiting people or something.
It's what Stalin said. So he had plucked all the hairs off this chicken, right? And
feathers?
Yeah, all the feathers. Yep. Thank you for that. So well, you're the chicken master. I don't have chickens, a chicken, man. You know. So he tortured this chicken. And then after torturing the chicken, gave it a little food. And then the chicken followed him around for the rest of the day.
He was hungry.
And he essentially says, it's like you could torture people. You could torture animals. You could torture something. And if you just give it a little more, so it'll come back to you for more. And I feel like we're being conditioned right now to you know, the financial crisis that we're in. We're being conditioned that oh, inflation could be at 80%, 10's not bad. We're being conditioned that oh, well, you know, you want your own apartment when you can't afford it, well, just get 2 roommates. Like we're being conditioned to like lower
our standards of life.
You know, our standards of life. Like, oh, well, you're working 40 hours a week, you don't have any money, living in your car. Like, well, there's a lot of people doing that. So you should be grateful that you're not in the tent in Portland.